Hello everyone, this is Tim, and this is going to be a video response to Elgaric, who did a video about role-playing and his brain, and how having mental health issues can sometimes get in the way of maybe RPGs, or RPGs have helped in many ways, and I want to talk about that a little bit. Before I start, I just want to say that there's a lot of us out there that have had some really crappy things happen to us in life. I've definitely gone through some stuff. Some things I'll never reveal to anyone else. Some things I won't even reveal to like my loved ones that are very close to me. And these things can just eat away at you. They are always there. Sometimes you can forget about them. And for me, a lot of these things, I only really forget about them when I'm role-playing, when I'm taking the guise of a character, when I'm living vicariously through their deeds and actions and choices. When I take a mental vacation from all this noise and static that's up here, and I think about different problems. I've heard that different bad can be good, where you have all the same bad things in your life that are bothering you, driving you crazy, what have you, and then you take on the role of character, and they have different problems, like, am I going to die in the dungeon? Are my enemies going to hunt me down and kill me? You know, these are things that I don't have in my own life. And that's a nice change. It's something else to occupy my mind for a little while. People have talked about escape and how that can be a bad thing, or, you know, if you always run away from your problems, they're never going to go away. But I think escape is necessary, and it's very helpful and very healthy. If it relieves the stress, if it relieves anxiety, if it helps you work on things that you can't really work on in any other way, like social issues, social concerns, just being more socially acceptable, being able to speak and have your ideas have clarity and meaning to those that listen to you. Things like that, RPGs have helped me out with a ton. Even doing these YouTube videos has helped me be a better speaker. I still have a long way to go, but it has improved my skills considerably, and I'm thankful for that. It's a lot of, you know, I'm very thankful for the community we have here, the various people that I've gotten attached to over the years, the people that I miss that are no longer here, these sorts of things. So for me, I had a pretty rough childhood. I don't really want to go into too much details, but there were some image concerns, there were family issues, things dealing with drugs and alcohol abuse, even neglect at times, though not as bad as some other people I've talked to. Some verbal abuse, well, I don't know about some, a good deal of verbal abuse. And my parents broke up. And for me, I know it's pretty common, but it really shattered me. It was like a hammer hitting glass for me. All these other things were already on my mind, and that made it a lot worse for me. And since then, horrible things have happened. But at the time, that really got under my skin. And I was eventually diagnosed with clinical depression. And at the time, they told me that I was never going to get better, that I would always be this way, and nothing I could do could really help that. And that was a pretty depressing thing to hear as a 16-year-old. I was skipping a lot of school at the time, trying to make sense of the world and make my life better, but everything I tried was failing. I didn't really know who to turn to for help, and I put on a very good front. The mask that I wore fooled everyone. In fact, it was so good that when I told my father that I needed to go talk to somebody, or I wouldn't be here any longer, he didn't take me seriously at first. Eventually, he listened to me, and I went and talked to some people, And lo and behold, I was put away for a while. I stayed at a place for adolescents for a little over a month, maybe a month and a half. My memory's a little fuzzy. And it was kind of interesting for me because kids would show up there who had already slashed their wrists, and they'd get out in like 2 or 3 days. Almost like, let's slap a sticker on your wrist and get your ass out the door. But for me, I think they realized that I wasn't doing it for attention. I was a candidate for doing it once and succeeding. If these sorts of things, thoughts of suicide, and I had plans set up, and I don't want to go into too much detail there, but let's just say that if I was going to do it, I was going to do it well. So I think that's the reason I stayed in there too. And I also wasn't making any progress. How they, view progress there. It was tough, but the sad thing is that being away from home for a month and a half, with all of these messed up people, I felt closer to them, complete strangers, than I did to my own family at the time. It felt like I was on vacation. I didn't have all the weight of all those problems on my shoulder. It was a nice change. It was different bad. It was a different bad thing to deal with. And I did a lot of talking with people. I talked to people who had completely different problems than my own. I was in there for depression, and there were girls in there with eating disorders, and people in there with severe anxiety problems. I don't think there was anybody in there with bipolar, but being in there with all those different types of people made me realize that I wasn't alone. I could talk to people. I didn't have to put on a mask all the time. I mean, nobody wants to hang out with a bummed out guy all the time, or even some of the time. So some of that mask I still use in my own daily life. I put a lot of my problems off to the side, and I deal with them in my own way. I've learned, I guess, though, that I can talk about things. That even if it's just with one person, it doesn't have to be a doctor or a psychiatrist, but that helps. And I'm not saying just don't deal with things, because there are some problems out there that need dealt with. If you don't hit them head on, take care of them, talk to some people, maybe get some prescriptions or something, that can really help some people. For me, though, I went down that route, and all of the pills, all of the talking I did with doctors really didn't help me. At best, I felt like I was high, or that I had too much sugar in my system, or I felt lethargic to the point of never wanting to get out of my bed. So part of me just had to realize that this is who I am. I need to work towards being better. I need to focus less on the things that other people had done to me and focus more on what I was going to do with my own life, my own choices. Most of the things that bothered me in childhood were things that others had decided, and I had to deal with the consequences. I felt like a victim. I always felt like I had no control over my own life, and that all these terrible things kept happening to me. So, needless to say, that doesn't help out your mental health in any shape, manner, or form. It was tough. And it only really started getting better when I moved out and more of my own decisions affected my mood and my life. And I realized that it would be so easy, so scarily easy to really ruin my life forever. I had lots of terrible choices and options I could have taken and chose not to. And I often say that it's a lot of boring, small decisions that stack up that have made my life better. One brick at a time. To build a wall, to build a foundation, to build the walls of my dwelling, my mental well-being, I guess. I'm still a downer most of the time, but I'm in a better place now. I have different challenges that sometimes weigh on me, but I'm in a better place than I once was. I'm not on a current medications for these sorts of things, and I could talk a little bit that, this isn't for everyone, but faith played a major role in me being able to start my own life, to start over, and to work towards being a better person and just have a better life. The quality of my life improved. So take that with a grain of salt. I've talked a little bit about that in a few videos, but I don't talk about it a lot. This is mostly a gaming channel. So role-playing games are in my life for a very important reason, and that is for me to just get out of myself, take on the guise of something else, someone else, and take a little vacation. A nice little mental vacation from all the things that are bouncing around in my head. I'm not sure if there's any other people out there that have dealt with problems in the past. There definitely is a stigma about getting help, about needing help. It's almost like you're weak. But in my experience, it is those that have dealt with horrible things, the strong ones, that suffer the most. They go so long without getting help. They go so long without giving up or quitting. People might look at me and they have no idea what I'm feeling most of the time. Again, it's that mask that I've learned to use, but I let people in. I let people know what's actually going on behind the scenes. And that's a comfort to me, to be able to share that with people. A lot of people come up to me and they tell me their problems. It doesn't happen as much. In high school, I got a lot of this. I've often heard it said that suffering and sorrow brings wisdom. But mainly I think it was that they would tell me their problems and I would share something similar but worse with my background. And they would often feel like, oh, okay, well, my problem isn't that bad. Oh, hell, it could be that. That's fucked up. I feel bad for you, Tim, but thanks for talking to me. I feel better. And I make people feel better. And I've always wanted to help people, even if it's just one small deed that will not be remembered. But maybe in that person's life, that means all the difference in the world. I don't know. Role-playing is at the heart of me. It's one of those choices and things that I've done with my life that I enjoy, that I greatly look forward to. Every instance of role-playing. Maybe not some of the bad groups I've been a part of, but even parts of those were good. There were moments that I was glad for. Even if I don't remember them, because my memory is terrible. But role-playing has a very important part of my life. It helps me. It has made me, or helped me be who I am today. And I'm grateful. I'm just thankful for that. I'm grateful. It's helped me come out of dark places. Sometimes by being in dark places in these games. It helps me use different parts of my personality that I don't show often. It lets me try things and experiment with things that I don't do in my life. I'm not these people, but it gives me a chance to just work some of those unused muscles, unused neurons, I guess, and neural pathways. It's a part of me. And even though sometimes I really get down, I can always get myself out of it these days. It doesn't last as long as it used to. Sometimes I just kick myself in my own ass and say, stop feeling so sorry for yourself. Self-pity is worthless. You're not helping anyone. You're not helping yourself. You need to do something. Especially those days where I don't feel like doing anything. In fact, I've had a little bit of challenge sometimes with making videos because I just don't feel like doing anything. I don't have the energy or the want or the desire. And that's usually when I have to kick myself in the ass, or I'll watch a video and think, okay, that's a really cool video, it's a really cool idea. How about I do a response to that? That might get the juices flowing again. And it normally does. And I've, compared to some other channels, my channel is kind of like steady and slow. I'm like the turtle, where other people might put out videos every day. I've put out a little bit here and there, and they've accumulated. I love talking about RPGs. I love talking to people who are role players. We have a lot in common. And I'm glad for that. It's something I did not expect on YouTube. So this is a very long video. I guess I'll probably end it here saying that role-playing has helped me. It has made me who I am today. It's a part of me. It's not everything I am, but I'm grateful for it. I think there have been times in my life where I have done too much role-playing, to the fact that, like relationships maybe have suffered. My wife, I think, thinks that I do this way too much. I'm on the computer way too much with YouTube videos. And that's also something to watch out for. You can become addicted to really anything. Too much of a good thing can be bad. So keep that in mind. If people are making comments and, if things aren't getting done, just turn it back a few notches. Do your homework, or get an extra hour of sleep, or, pay your bills that you haven't paid for a while that are stacking up. You need to do these things. This is a hobby. It's not really, I don't know if I necessarily would call this a lifestyle, but maybe it is. It's a subculture. Just, keep things in balance. Real life and these fake worlds that we traipse around in and have a good time in. A little bit of both. Keeps us nice and sane, I think, or saner. So that's pretty much it, guys. Feel free to leave comments below if you want to make video responses about mental health and role-playing and all these different things. Feel free. I'll put a link down to Elgaric's video down below in the dungeon. Alright, everyone. I guess that's pretty much it. I guess I'll end with saying that I'm in a pretty good place these days, and I'm glad for each and every one of you. Thank you.